Burning rubber, tires screaming, engines go berserk. Pit stop precision like surgeons at work. Wheel to wheel, hands on the grip, no chill. Broadcast live, pacemaker keeping it real. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, box flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. 360 on the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. Peacemaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, box flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. On the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. Peacemaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. From amateurs to legends, it's all the same heat. One wrong move might sweep defeat. High octane stakes climb mile by mile. Peacemakers mic hot, adding flames to the style. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, box flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. Greasy, the grind stay greasy. 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 Burning rubber, tires screaming, engines go berserk. Pit stop precision like surgeons at work. Wheel to wheel, hands on the grip, no chill. Broadcast live, pacemaker keeping it real. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, box flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. 360 on the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. Peacemaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, box flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. On the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. Peacemaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. From amateurs to legends, it's all the same heat. One wrong move might sweep defeat. High octane stakes climb mile by mile. Peacemakers mic hot, adding flames to the style. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, box flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. Greasy, the grind stay greasy. 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 Burning rubber, tires screaming, engines go berserk. Pit stop precision like surgeons at work. Wheel to wheel, hands on the grip, no chill. Broadcast live, pacemaker keeping it real. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, box flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. 360 on the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. Peacemaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, box flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel race in the ground, stay crazy. On the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. Peacemaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Yeah. From amateurs to legends, it's all the same heat. One wrong move might sweep defeat. High octane stakes climb mile by mile. Peacemakers mic hot, adding flames to the style. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, sparks flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel race in the grind, stay greasy. Greasy, the grind, stay greasy. 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 Yeah. Burning rubber, tires screaming, engines go berserk. Pit stop, precision lane searches at work.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome in as we get ready to rock and roll here this evening from the beautiful Pocono Raceway. This is going to be a heck of a show, a heck of a night of racing action, and starting on the pole here this evening, it is the 60 ride of Mr. Ryan Haller. Haller will start in the pole position here this evening in the Cisco ride. As to his outside will be the 57 of Grant Applegate. Back behind him in the 16 machine, it is the Rowdy Forever ride of Mr. Matthew Wood. To his outside will be Colby Wells, and we see Jack Bulty in the Fish Speed Ford Mustang starting there in 5th. To his outside in the Racing Canes number 5, that is Xavier Ruggle Bruggy. Starting in position number 7 in the 2 machine, that is Landon Burbage. To his outside in the Sayans Media number 74, it's Jaden Porter. Starting in position number 9 in the M&M's number 8 machine, it's Trent Johns. To his outside in the 15 machine, it'll be the Skyline ride of Mr. Stephen Blevins. As the Skyline Mechanical Service number 15 ride rounds out our top 10. We take a look here at the 66 ride in the Culver's machine. That is Ben Needis. And then we do see Logan Perriman to his outside in the... Actually, it's the 19 ride who should be on his outside of Benjamin Romano. Good to see Romano out there on the racetrack, as Romano going to start in 12th. And then we will see, I believe it is the 00 Michael Durham Jr. His outside will be the 99 of Logan Perriman. And then we see Joseph Smith in the 23 of Austin Thompson. Going to be back in row number 8. Back in row number 9 will be Darren Engler in the Taco Bell number 83. And the 13 of Michael Ponder Jr. there in the 18th position. Back in row number 10, starting in the 19th position, it will be this beautiful 11 ride of Jaden Browder. To his outside in the Fish Speed Brakes number 39, it's Jordan Fisher, who will start there in 20th. Back in 21st, the 37, that is Evan Stewart. To his outside, the 17 is Jason Bogart, and bringing up the rear of the field here this evening, it's the Dr. Pepper 77 of Caleb Holloman. Is here we go, ready to rock and roll from the tricky triangle here this evening. As says, let's go, little nephew, let's go. Arcadian in the chat says, Let's go, little nephew. Anna says, I'm hoping for a top five. Top five definitely could be good. That is for certain. Fish Mom says, you got a good feeling about this race? Oh, man, we all got a good feeling about this one. This is going to be a fun one. This is going to be very, very great racing action, man. We can see a lot of green flag laps being laid down here at Pocono. Big racetrack, a lot of room, and a lot of time to shine here this evening as Ryan Holler will bring us to the green flag as we end all of the anticipation with our feature presentation. As we are quickly green flag racing here from Pocono Raceway, the tricky triangle. Holler down low, sends it in through corner one, but on corner exit, looks like some momentum built up for the 57 of Applegate. Applegate looking to take that early race lead, and he will take it away from the 60 ride of Ryan Holler. Holler will continue to keep on battling here to the inside of the 45 ride of Colby Wells. Wells looking to try to get around him here as well as Holler. Great qualifying effort, putting himself onto the pole position, man. That is a heck of a showing and showing some great speed out of that number 60 machine. But you do see the 45 ride also able to jump down in front of him and able to slide into position number 2 on the racetrack. Now we do see Matthew Wood also get around him here, so unfortunately Holler, our pole sitter, on the backside here on lap number 1 and 2 as Applegate out in front is able to lead our first lap of the race. Colby Wells there in second. Matthew Wood now up and into third here as we do see Xavier Rugglebruggy trying to work his way into position number 4 as Holler down low, just unfortunately not carrying that speed that he was hoping for. Maybe a little bit more trimmed out for qualifying. Maybe playing a little bit more of the long game here in this one, knowing that, you know, tires could potentially play a bit of a factor, especially later in this run, and maybe taking care of his equipment right now, letting the race kind of come to him and not really pushing the subject right now. But you do not want to lose too much time too quickly because you may not be able to get it back, as we see Xavier and Landon Burbage powered down the front straightaway, both able to work their way around him, and for Holler falls outside our top 5, now hits position number 6 here on the racetrack. Is Mrs. Rugglebruggy in the chat says, have a great race, boys. Let's go, Xavier. Cheering on Zay here this evening. Well, there's Zay. He's up into 4th, and he's looking for more here this evening, trying to see if he can close that gap on the beautiful Outlier Speedco Rowdy Forever, number 16 of Matthew Wood. Jack Bulte's right there in the Fish Speed number 27 ride, rolling in 7th. He does have Trent Johns back there behind him in that 8th position with Michael Durham Jr. and Jaden Porter hanging on to the top 10 right now. But we do see Jordan Fisher working his way up and through the traffic here. The Fish Speed breaks, a main guy working his way through the field here. Started all the way back in position number 20. Now up 8 positions, looking to add one more to the total as he's trying to make that move, trying to steal the 11th spot away from Steven Blevins. Blevins trying to hang on to it, trying to keep him back there at bay, but I don't know how much he's going to have in the tank here, especially with the 0-0. Michael Durham Jr. just jumping in front of him, killed a little bit of momentum down the long pond back straightaway, and unfortunately there through that tunnel turn of corner number 2, Blevins does fall back to 12th, and we see the 39 of Jordan Fisher jump up into the 11th spot here on the Speedway. So just outside our top 10, as we did see some issues back here as the 31 ride, the Rush Hour karting machine, going to get some contact. Caleb Holloman gets into the tunnel turn right here, gets a piece of them, and eventually you're going to see the 31 just get locked down here, goes sideways, ends up going around. Unfortunately, does not bring a caution flag out, but that was a big hit right there for the 31. Big move from the 77, obviously getting a good run down the long pond back straightaway. Takes a peek to the inside, sends it in there. Not sure if the 31 looked like maybe Joseph came down a little bit, maybe just trying to work his way underneath of Needus there for the, I believe this was a battle for about the 16th position on the racetrack. and unfortunately just did not work out for the 31 or really the 77 as there's contact, and both drivers end up with some pretty good damage right there. You see a few other drivers having to get checked up in this as well as, yeah, that's just a tough break here. I think the 31 ride, probably not expecting that move so early, or maybe thinking that the 77 would be a little bit more cordial being this early in the race. Unfortunately, nonetheless, there is contact, and that's where we see him go sideways. The 77 gets hit by the 17. They all start to stack up, and eventually the 31 right locks it down, gets sideways, and the car goes around. Everyone else able to keep it pointing in the right direction. No caution flag. It stays clean and green for Smith, unfortunately. That puts him at the rear of the field here. Going to really need this stage to come to a close to try to get himself back into the action, as we will see 2 stage breaks here this evening. Now, the thing I will say about the stages here at Pocono is the caution laps here. The caution laps here take a while, chat. They take a long time. Yellows here at Pocono, I don't know what it is. Even Daytona and Talladega, it seems like their caution laps go a little quicker. It seems like the yellow flag laps here at Pocono just drag on. So we're open for a lot of good green flag racing here this evening, as we will see stages come to a close at the completion of lap number 30 for stage number 1 and the completion of lap number 60 for stage number 2. We will have 112 laps of racing action, potentially more, if we do go to NASCAR overtime here this evening, which, I mean, is never out of the question when it comes to these drivers. But for Grant Applegate, he's out in front. He's feeling A-okay. He's got a Fish Speed Brakes teammate of his back there behind him. The 45 ride of Wells rolls there in second. Zane's there in third. That's another Fish Speed Brakes ride rolling there in that third position. So I think for Applegate, he's feeling absolutely A-okay right now with a 1.3 second gap between himself and Wells. Zay has worked his way around Matthew Wood up and into third, and now looking to try to get after Wells here for position number 2 on the racetrack. Matthew Wood has fallen there into fourth with Landon Burbage. Ryan Haller sticking right there with these guys just outside our top 5. Jack Bulty's right there as well, and I know I'm drinking one, I'm batting one back right now. I should have got into that probably about half an hour ago. This is probably what I should have done. I always like having one for the broadcast. I don't like starting it prior to the broadcast because I don't want to run out during the broadcast. But nonetheless, we do see Bulty's there in 7th. Right with them is that 8 rider, Trent Johns. Jordan Fisher now working his way up and into position number 9 here on the Speedway. So Fisher started back in 20th, now inside our top 10. And I'm not sure if he's done yet, man. He's definitely going to be looking to try to march his way up through the field. Only 8 laps into this race. Still 22 laps away from seeing the end of our first stage. Definitely a lot of positions on the line here for Fish if he can work his way just a little farther forward here. Has to close in a 1.3 second gap to get to the rear bumper of Trent Johns for that 8th spot on the Speedway. Jaden Porter's able to hold on to position number 10 on the Speedway, but he's quickly having the 11 ride. The coupons.com machine right there on him. That is Jaden Browder. Browder able to get by him, as you do see, unfortunately for Porter, gets very, very loose down into court number 3 right there. And unfortunately, just kicking that rear end out enough, killed some momentum down the front straightaway. Nothing he could do to try to keep that 11 ride back there at bay. And for Jaden Browder, he now finds himself up inside the top 10 as well. Michael Durham Jr. rolls there in 12th with Logan Perriman, Stephen Blevins, and then we do see Benjamin Romano there in that 15th spot on the Speedway. Ben Needis there in position number 16 with Caleb Holloman, Jason Bogart, Austin Thompson, and Michael Ponder Jr. rounding at our top 20. Darren Engler's there in 21st. Evan Stewart rolls in 22nd. And unfortunately for the driver that kind of had some issues there not too long ago, that 31 rider Joseph Smith still bringing up the rear of the field here this evening. As Bill Fisher in the chat, what's good, Bill? Bill says, keep moving forward, Jordan. And it says, Peacemaker Monster Energy, yes, we got the Monster roll, and Jill says, hey, Papa Fish, as Papa Slim in the chat as well. Papa Slim says, good luck, Trent Johns. Cheering on Trent here this evening. Trent definitely got a few fans in the stands here this evening, cheering him on, watching him do his thing out there on the Speedway and trying to work this 8 ride maybe up into victory lane here this evening. Beautiful looking 8 machine out there on the Speedway, just trying to keep picking him off. He's rolling into that 60 ride of Ryan Haller, as Haller has fallen back to 7th as the it's now the 2-7 ride, the 27 of Jack Bulte, who sits now into the 6th position. It used to be the 67 on the scoreboard. It'll show as the 67, but his number on his car is now the 27 of Jack Bulte, not the 67 ride. As we do see him up and into 6th here, we see Burbage there in 5th. Can he work his way around Matthew Wood? He's right there on Matthew's back bumper, but everybody's still trying to hunt down Grant Applegate. And for Applegate, the 1.3 second gap that he had over him and Wells is kind of evaporated here. Wells now only about 0.6 of a second back off his rear bumper and reeling into the 57 ride. So Applegate, maybe a little bit too much on the throttle, maybe a little bit too up the pace too quickly, maybe burning through a little bit of that extra tire early on in this run, and now starting to feel some of that tire wear come into play and maybe starting to slide back just a little bit, maybe just enough that, he's got to roll out of the throttle a little sooner on corner entry. He's got to be a little easier, a little lighter on the throttle on corner exit, trying to keep this 57 point in the right direction. And as you start to cut back on entry and exit and trying to manage those tires a little bit more, that's just going to continue to slow you down more and more and more. And that's where we could see a lot of these drivers really start to reel in this 57 and put some pressure onto Applegate's back bumper to try and steal this top spot away from him. You see Wells trying to slowly reel him in here. It's only about 0.4 of a second now, so he's definitely running quite a bit quicker. Majority of the field has been running quite a bit quicker than what we have seen the last few laps out of Applegate. So I'm not sure if Applegate's car is starting to fall off, or maybe he's just trying to manage the gap a little bit more, maybe try to save a little bit more. Nonetheless, obviously not working to his favor right now, but he's still out in front, has that clean air, and has that ability to potentially try to pull away later in this run. But Wells right there with him. Zay rolls right there in that 3rd spot on the Speedway. Matthew Wood able to keep the outlier Speedco number 16 right in that 4th position. Landon Burbage still right there with them. Continue to try to work to the inside of the 16. Can't quite get there. Can't quite get to that left rear quarter panel there of Matthew Wood. And unfortunately for Burbage, a lot of momentum lost there on the front straightaway. Took a really different angle on corner exit there at a corner number 3, and unfortunately that may have hurt him a little bit here, but you see Matthew really running the outside rim here. He's going very, very high, which is kind of an odd line. We don't really see a lot of drivers kind of go to that very high side of the racetrack, especially down through 3 and even for corner number 1. So it's definitely a bit of an oddball line, but so far it's hasn't hurt him too much, but we'll see if it helps him here. Maybe it's just trying to save a little extra tire. Maybe it's a different line up there that we haven't really seen before, but we'll keep an eye on it as the 16 rider Matthew Wood stays there in that 4th position, keeping Burbage back there at bay. Jack Bulte still there in 6th with Haller and Trent Johns rounding out our top 8, but Johns has some company as here comes Jordan Fisher. Fisher right there ready to pounce, ready to make some moves himself, trying to pick up another spot, trying to work this 39 ride up the 12th position from the drop of this green flag and into that 8th spot here on the Speedway. Trent, though, going to continue to battle hard to his outside as they are door to door down to corner number 2. Unfortunately, preferred line goes to the 39 ride. Trent going to try to work his way maybe back down to the inside. Got a great run out of corner number 2. It looked like he thought about maybe jumping to the inside inside of the 39 right. Looks like he's going to get the door shut, though, and Jordan Fisher will clear him and keep position number 8 out there on the racetrack. And now with the 8 right having to hold off there a little bit through corner number 3, it's opened up the door now for the coupons.com number 11 of Jaden Browder to get after him, as well as Browder is kind of following right in the tire tracks of that 39 ride of Jordan Fisher, just watching Fisher kind of do his thing and pick him off, let him do all the hard work and allow him to just to kind of move right on by and kind of pick up the scraps there, steal those extra positions and move himself a little farther forward in the field as well. As right now both Fisher and Browder, the only 2 drivers that have gained double-digit positions since the drop of this green flag. As Fisher up 12 spots, Jaden Browder's up 10 spots here on the racetrack. Our next hard charger is the 77 ride of Caleb Holloman, who's now up 9 positions. 9 spots, started back, technically at the rear of the field here this afternoon, at the back of the pack in 23rd, and he finds himself here in 14th. So, Caleb Holloman showing that he's got some good speed, some great pace in this race car, and that's even after the contact that he had early on between him and Joseph Smith that sent Smith for a bit of a slide down through corner number 2, and going around himself did not help out Joseph at all, but I don't know, maybe it kind of woke up that car, or maybe he already had something rolling here, but nonetheless, Caleb Holloman really picking his way through this traffic as well. Same with Bogarts, who's stuck right there with them in that 15th position now for Bogarts. He's up 7 spots on the racetrack from the drop of the green flag. So some big movers out there on the speedway. Drivers coming from deep in the field, working their way up towards the front here in stage number 1. As Applegate, though, trying to hang on to it, knowing that these laps are clicking down in a quick hurry, as we only have now, I believe, 12 laps left to go in this stage. 12 more laps left to duke it out here in stage number 1. Can Applegate hold him off? Can he keep him back there at bay? Or will we potentially see a driver like Xavier Rogobragi make a big move and steal the race lead? There is the big run. There's the move, and Zay works his way up and into the top spot. New race leader, Xavier Rogobragi, as the Raisin Kings number 5 ride jumps to the point. Xavier Rogobragi out in front will lead lap number 19 here this evening. Colby Wells sits there in second. Wood now up and into third, as we see Landon Burbage, and Jack Bulte quickly down to the inside here of Applegate. We also want to take a look back here and see. I didn't really get a good look at it. Did we potentially see Applegate get into the outside fence here? Maybe get a piece of the wall right here. Doesn't look like any damage to that right front, but I believe he had some damage there to the right front of this 57 ride. Take a look at it here. Doesn't look like anything down at corner number 3. Car looks like it's in good shape right here. We'll see if down through corner number 1, if he runs into an issue. That's where you saw the 5 ride of Rogobragi able to work his way around Colby Wells there in 3. But then closes the gap up here and really catches up to the 57 right here. Oh, yeah. Applegate just gets up the racetrack, gets up into the outside fence. A really big hit there for that 57. You can see how much speed and momentum that killed for that 57 ride, and that allowed both, Xavier and Colby down the Long Pond back straightaway, able to work their way around him. And now for Applegate, continues to fall farther and farther behind. As now Bulte's around him, we see the 60 rider Ryan Haller's gotten by him. He's got Jordan Fisher right there on his back bumper. Jaden Browder's right there. And for Applegate, just went from our race leader 2 laps ago to now all of a sudden being back here in the 9th position, just trying to keep the program alive here. Bounces up the wall again there out of the tunnel turn, and you don't want to make that damage any worse. And unfortunately for the 57, he's feeling it right now as he continues to fall farther and farther back. Fisher able to work his way around the 60 of Ryan Haller. Browder gets by him there as well, so move Fisher now up and into 6. Browder back into Yeah, that's seventh position now, up into seventh for the 11 Ryan Haller does fall back into eighth with Applegate now in ninth. Trent Johns rounding out our top 10 here on the Speedway, but it's Xavier Rugglebruggy out in front. Matthew Wood now up and into position number 2 as Kobe Wells sits in third. We do see Landon Burbage and Bulte right there, ready to rumble, ready to get into the action there himself with that Fish Speed number 27 ride. As each and every one of these drivers, man, it's been a dogfight here, and in these closing laps it'll be interesting to see, who's kind of got the best tires, who's going to be able to use it to work in their favor to try to push themselves to the front of the field. As we see the 45 of Kobe Wells. Wells hits pit road here. Lap 22, Wells is down pit road, so is in Jordan Fisher. Trent Johns also down pit side in the M&M's number 8 machine. Caleb Holloman hits pit road. Jason Bogart hits pit road. Unfortunately, we did see Michael Durham Jr. early on hit pit lane as well back on lap number 15. He came down pit road, and he was down pit side there for quite a while. Still down pit road. Unfortunately, he's now fallen 7 laps down. The Culvers, number 66 ride of Ben Neatis, also down pit side for quite a while. And unfortunately for this 66 machine, finds himself about 5 laps down out there on the Speedway. So a couple issues early on for these drivers. But for Xavier Rugglebruggy, he continues to lead the charge. Wood and Burbage back there behind him as here comes Jack Bulte. Ryan Haller hits pit road. So a couple more of our front runners hit pit lane here in this one. And sure, Haller says, come on, Ryan, hang steady. Doing great, she says. He is doing great. Megan in the chat says, or Mean Gene, I always read that as Megan, sorry. Mean Gene Money in the chat says, X-Man doing it and doing it well. That is absolutely right. He is definitely doing it well here this evening as Rugglebruggy out in front here. Only 7 laps left to go in this stage. Now, obviously, fuel potentially a big issue here. We may see everyone have to come down pit road and make this green flag pit stop. Some drivers may have been saving. Other drivers may have been, pushing a little harder out there on the racetrack. And here we go. We see Matthew Wood on lap number 24. Hits pit road himself. So for the Outlier Speedco, number 16, Machina Wood now hits pit lane here this evening. It's quite surprising we haven't seen Applegate hit pit lane after falling back as quickly as he was. He's sticking with it. I figured we would have saw him being one of the first drivers to make a green flag pit stop, to hit pit road here, and maybe try to get a little bit of that damage repaired and try to help him out a little bit here, stop the bleeding and the leaking that he's been kind of doing. But for Wood, able to make this pit stop, rolls back in on the racetrack. Now the big question will be, what's the game plan? Do you take tires? Do you take fuel only? Will it hold you up? Will it put you into a bad spot, or will it help you out here later in this run? Is Wood able to get out of the pits, jumps in front of Colby Wells, so he's still just there in front of that number 45 ride. Joseph Smith back here behind them. I believe Joe still has to make a green flag pit stop. He may fall a lap down out there on the racetrack. It'll be interesting to see as we see our race leaders hit pit road. Rugglebruggy, Burbage, Browder, Applegate. Here comes Jaden Porter, also down pit side. Austin Thompson's going to follow him down in through as well. So some pit stops now start to fly as Benjamin Romano and Stephen Blevins both going to stay out here. So they both stay out a little bit longer. See if that works into their favor. Evan Stewart looks like he's going to stay as well. That should move Evan, up and into position number 4 here on the Speedway. Unfortunately for Evan, I think he's going to run it to the end of this stage. He's got to get to the end of the stage. So does it potentially, Blevins and Romano, especially the number, where the heck did he even go? He may have already came down pit side. Joseph Smith, yeah, there's Smith. He's down pit road as well. And Darren Engler with the black flag. Too fast entering pit road for Darren. And unfortunately for Mr. Engler, that's going to give him a pretty massive penalty here. This may put him a lap down, but you won't lose multiple laps for how big Pocono is. So that will at least be a bit of a saving grace, as we do see the 19 Tracker Boats machine of Benjamin Romano hit pit lane here. So he makes his pit stop. Blevins does stay stay out for another lap as Xavier Rugglebrugge able to work his way in front of Matthew Wood. So Rugglebrugge, Wood, and Wells, as he works himself around the Fish Speed number 37 ride of Evan Stewart in that fourth position. They're all still waiting on Blevins to potentially hit pit road here, make this green flag pit stop, and see kind of where they come out and how this works out, you know, into their favor or misfortune here this evening for Evan Stewart. I mean, he's still technically right now on the lead lap, but I think he's going to have to hit pit road in a quick hurry, or else he may go a lap down, and in doing so, I mean, you don't want to lose a lap out there on the racetrack, but I don't know, it'd be interesting to see. He was back there at the rear of the field, maybe saving right at the get-go an extreme amount. Maybe he was able to save enough fuel to get to the end of this stage here. That may work out nicely for him and maybe steal some stage points. We'll have to wait and see. As the 15 of Blevins, though, continues to lead the way. Blevins out in front, leading the charge. Only 3 laps left to go here in stage number 1. Xavier Rugglebrugge there in second with Matthew Wood back in third. Wells, Stewart, Landon Burbage there in 6th. Jack Bulte's there in 7th. Jaden Browder has worked his way around Jordan Fisher. Fisher's back in 9th. And Ryan Haller rounding out our top 10 is, here we go, the 15 ride. Finally hitting pit lane here. So the Skyline machine of Stephen Blevins finally hits pit road, making this green flag pit stop. Now, I believe the only other driver that is yet to make this green flag stop here in stage number 1 is the 37 of Evan Stewart. Stewart still yet to come down pit road here in this stage. Has he been able to save enough fuel to get to the end of the stage and beyond? You gotta make it a couple laps before pit road opens, so you gotta be really cautious on, you know, how long you're running and when you finally have to hit pit lane here if you're that 37 ride, because if you run out of fuel under yellow, you may not get any help. You may be hung out to dry and may have to tow that car down pit lane, which could cost you a lap or two anyway. So we'll have to wait and see what the strategy call is there. But for right now, it's Xavier Rugglebrugge who picks up and reconsumes the race lead, but he's got Matthew Wood right there with him. Matthew looking to try to steal this stage away from that beautiful 5 ride of Xavier Rugglebrugge. Rugglebrugge going to do everything he can to kind of keep him back there at bay, and this could be a bit of a preview of what we may see in the closing laps this A-main feature event. So Zay goes up the racetrack, kind of throwing some dirty air, trying to put a bit of a block on that number 16 ride of Matthew Wood. Wood trying to take a big run here down the long pond back straightaway, trying to reel him in. Unfortunately, I think for Colby Wells, unless there's contact here, a little too far away from putting himself into the battle for this stage win. Jack Bulte's up into 4th. Landon Burbage rolls there in 5th with Browder, Fisher, Ryan Haller now in 8th with Trent Johns and Logan Perriman rounding out our top 10, as unfortunately Evan Stewart did have to come down pit side, as Matthew Wood around the outside able to snag the top spot from Xavier Rugglebrugge on the final lap of stage number 1, and it's Matthew Wood who will pick up our first stage win of the day. Wood gets it done, picks up the first stage win. Zay unfortunately falls back into second. Still some really good stage points, just no bonus points that come with it. Colby Wells there in 3rd with Jack Bulte's back in 4th, and it's Landon Burbage running at our top 5 there in stage number 1. In 6th is Jaden Browder, up 13 spots from where he started to finish there in 6th. Also up 13 positions is this number 39 of Jordan Fisher to finish there in 7th. Ryan Haller finishes back in 8th, so unfortunately for our pole sitter, did fall back 7 spots in that first stage, but still some decent stage points there to try to help this 60 rider Ryan Haller keep himself in the playoff hunt here this evening. Trent Johns there in 9th, and Logan Perriman rounding out the top 10 in our first stage of the day, all earning themselves some solid stage points. Caleb Holloman, big run there for him throughout that run. He started in dead last, 23rd here this evening. Finishes that stage off in position number 11. So good moves there by the 77 rider to work his way just outside of some stage points here in our first stage of the day. Jaden Porter's there in 12th with Benjamin Romano, Jason Bogart, Stephen Blevins, the 23 of Austin Thompson's back in 16th. Applegate, unfortunately, may have had to spend a little extra time down pit road, or maybe, I don't know, he still got that damage on the right front. You got to wonder if maybe just for as long as he stayed out there throughout that run before making his green flag pit stop back on lap number 25, he may have just been leaking more and more positions, unfortunately, for Applegate after taking the early race lead, leading our first 18 laps of this race, then getting up into the fence at a corner number 1 and just falling like a rock here. Finishes the stage off there in 17th. Michael Ponder Jr., Evan Stewart, who we saw make that late race pit stop there in stage number 1, finishes in 19th, and I believe Joseph Smith able to keep himself on the lead lap, finishes the stage off there in 20th. Darren Angler, who got a penalty down pit side, finishes there in 21st. Ben Needus back out there on the speedway, was down pit road for an extended period of time. I believe he has now scored 4 laps down out there on the racetrack, and obviously not in line for the Lucky Dog. That should go to the 83, but the 83 also comes down pit road, and for Benny, also gets a black flag. Too fast entering pit road for the 66 ride. So more issues there for the 66 anyways, and I believe for Michael Durham Jr. stuck in his car down behind pit wall and out of this race as everyone's down pit road. You see tires going on the right side. Looks like tires going to go potentially on the left sides here as well. And there it is, 4-tire pit stop in the race off of pit road. It's a tight one. And I believe potentially it may have been Landon Burbage winning the race off of pit road. So Burbage could be our race leader coming back to the green flag to start our second stage of the day. Bealty jumps up into second. Woods back into third. Jaden Browder's there in fourth with Austin Thompson, Xavier Rungo Bruggy, Trent Johns in 7th. Kobe Wells falls back to 8th with Logan Perriman and Ryan Haller rounding out our top 10, getting ready to go back to green flag racing. I think big losers on this one. We do see Applegate still down pit side, and so isn't Jordan Fisher, who's also still down pit road here. Not sure what the strategy call is here for, obviously, Applegate needs some damage repair. Fisher's car looked A-okay. Just a longer pit stop right here for the 39 ride. I'm not sure what the call is here for the 39, or what they're maybe trying to get some extra repairs done or something to try to get fixed up here. Unfortunately, just not really working into his favor right now. He had raced his way up into some good stage points there in that first stage and had bound his way up through the field. So maybe he's just trying to do that again, have a little bit more fun here on the evening and try to race his way up and through the pack here in stage number 2 as well. But if he doesn't get rolling here, he may go a lap down. And I think he's going to. He's not going to beat our race leaders down out of pit road right here. And unfortunately, for the 39 of Jordan Fisher, parked down pit road here for an extended time, he does lose a lap. Applegate able to just get out in front of the race leaders here. He'll keep himself on the lead lap. We did see Austin Thompson and Joseph Smith both head back down pit road. We had everyone stacked up 2 by 2 by 2, ready to rock and roll, ready to get back after it. And Fisher is still parked down pit side. Here in this one, Bill Fishmom, somebody, what is going on here? What is happening to the 39 ride of Jordan Fisher that we see him parked down pit road for an extended period of time out there on the racetrack? If he doesn't get rolling here sooner rather than later, I mean, he could be in a very, very tough position with minimal caution flags potentially here this evening. You go multiple laps down, you may not get a chance to get them all back here today. As Angler, also 1 lap down, is currently not in the free pass position, as I believe he may be 2 laps down, not taking the wave around right there throughout that caution break, but even if Fisher was able to get rolling right now, he's not going to be lined up with the rest of the field here. They're headed down the back straightaway into corner number 3 right here. Trying to find out, yeah, unfortunate break here. Unfortunate circumstances for Jordan Fisher. Obviously, something you never want to see. Definitely never something you want to have happen. I mean, had such a great run in stage number 1. He is still down pit road. He is not moving as of yet. And here comes our race leaders going back to the green flag. Green flag back into the air. Big jump there for Landon Burbage after a great pit stop, and the do-ride finds himself out in front. So Landon Burbage leads the charge back down into corner number 1 here this evening. Burbage out in front. Buelty's there trying to battle door to door here with Matthew Wood. Now we saw obviously a lot of strategy throughout that first stage. Some drivers were a little bit harder on their equipment, pushing through the field, working their way forward. Some of them don't have to battle as hard here this time. So will they have something for them? We look back here at drivers like Jaden Browder, who sits in that 4th position. We saw how many positions he was able to gain and how much track position he was able to get out there on the racetrack to navigate this 11 ride into some good solid stage points. What will he have here throughout stage number 2 to try to win this stage for the 11 ride? Obviously, we did see Jack Buelty work his way around Landon Burbage, so Burbage does fall back into second here rather quickly, but after leading a few laps here for the 2 machine, he's going to be feeling A-okay. Obviously, maybe just trying to play a little bit of that cat and mouse game himself, maybe trying to save a little bit of tire, a little bit of fuel throughout this run to try to set him up nicely here for our final stage of the day, as we do see Jordan Fisher finally rolling back out onto the speedway. So Fisher finally gets rolling here again. Unfortunately for the 39 ride, he does fall 3 laps down out there on the racetrack. So Fisher, after navigating his way from deep in the field up and into our top 10, into the top 5 there, having himself a great run in stage number 1, came down pit road there, during the stage break with everybody else, and unfortunately was down there for an extended period of time. Now 3 laps down here. Unfortunately, there is another driver that is at least a lap or potentially 2 laps in front of him here. I believe at least 1 lap in front of him. It's the 83 ride of Darren Engler. Engler is currently in the free pass position. He is currently in the lucky dog spot. So Darren would get potentially 1 or 2 lucky dogs prior to Jordan Fisher if we don't see very many caution flags here this evening, or if we don't see any more, then it's going to be pretty much impossible for Fisher to get himself back on a lead lap. But we do see the 27. Jack continues to lead the charge. Jack out in front, showing these drivers that he means business here this evening. He's got that Ford Mustang hooked up here this evening and trying to put him and the Fish Speed logo into victory lane here this evening, as he's looking pretty out there on the speedway. We see Burbage right there behind him trying to reel him back in, though. Same with that 16 of Matthew Wood. Browder's right there in position number 4, and look who continues to keep on marching their way through the field. It's the 77 of Caleb Holloman. Holloman all of a sudden hauling butt and working his way inside our top 5, working his way to the inside of Matthew Wood, trying to jump up into position number 3 here on the speedway. So Caleb Holloman showing that he's got some great speed out of this 77 ride, and he's hoping that he can work his way up and into victory lane, looking less like the regular Caleb Holloman that we see out there on the racetrack, and maybe looking a little bit more like Carson Hocevar out there on the speedway, making some big moves and pushing his way to the front of the pack here and working his way right there into second, man. Definitely not what we're used to seeing out of the 77 ride, man. He's had some good runs, he's had some good performances, but to be able to just drive up here and buy these guys, you got to wonder, how much is he using and abusing the tires, and how much are the rest of these leaders potentially kind of, holding back out there, as Bill with the I don't know logo there in the chat. I don't know what happened there either. That's definitely a big shoulder shrug for a lot of us here tonight, Bill. Not too sure what was going on there with Fisher down pit road. Unfortunately, though, for himself and all the Fish Speed cars and teammates and fans in the stands, if you're the Fish machine, unfortunately, multiple laps down. going to have to look for a lot of caution flags to work his way back on a lead lap. A lot of wave arounds, a lot of lucky dogs, something that happened that could work into his favor that could potentially get him back into the battle. Unfortunately, though, yellow flags may be very far and few between here this evening, especially after already seeing our first 30 laps of this race go clean and green throughout that first stage of the day. Here in stage number 2, I mean, we're already completing lap 39. We're about to hit lap 40 next time by the start finish line. So we're already, a third of the way through this second stage. Only 20 laps left to go until we know we'll get a yellow flag at the end of the stage at the completion of lap number 60. But we do see Colby Wells. Colby's worked his way up and into third here. So Wells has turned it on. He's raced his way back up into the top 3. And for the 45 ride, continue to try to push his way towards the front of the pack as Landon Burbage and Matthew Wood both fall back into the 4th and 5th position here on the Speedway. Maybe just biding their time, waiting patiently here to strike later in this run. As Trent Johns now into that 6th position as Logan Perriman, Benjamin Romano, the number 17 of Jason Bogart right there with them, and Browder has fallen back now into the 10th position. So you're going to wonder if maybe Browder here as well, just trying to save a lot of tire right here. Just trying to be patient, just trying to save a little tire, trying to put himself into a good position for later in this run. But nonetheless, man, some great battling. Let's see if we can, let's jump on board here. Let's jump on board with Trent Johns right here. So we're going to jump on board for this lap with Mr. Johns, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get a little ride along here, give you a look at what these drivers are seeing out of the cockpit of their race cars here at Pocono Speedway. So let's go for a ride along with the 8th ride of Trent Johns. Already a great couple laps there with that number 8 ride at Johns. As you can see the battle that he's working on right here, trying to duke it out with that 16 machine of Mr. Matthew Wood, trying to find his way around him, but we do see the caution flag come out for the second time here this evening. So the yellow flag flies, and I believe we're going to see Logan Perriman run into some issues here. So it looks like Perriman with some problems. He has now taken this car down pit side right here. Big damage dealt to the Bass Pro Shops 99 machine. Let's see if we can take a look back, see what happened here and how things kind of got played out for him, as this was a battle right there with that 16 ride of Matthew Wood and the number 8 of Trent Johns down into the tunnel turn here. Yeah, just almost the exact same as what we kind of saw early on between the 77 of Caleb Holloman and the number 31 of Joseph Smith. As you're going to see Wood, he's to the inside right here. He's kind of got position headed into the corner. That's the wrong one. There we go. And then yeah, he kind of just comes down. The 16 ride still underneath him. I'm not sure if he just thought maybe he was clear or if he maybe started to come down, try to pinch the 16 down the racetrack here, that maybe he'd give up the spot. Unfortunately, there's contact, and man, that was a huge hit up into the outside fence there for that Bass Pro Shops 99 ride, and unfortunately that is going to really set him back a ton out there on the Speedway, as that's going to put him, a lot behind the 8 ball out there on the Speedway. Now, we did see Zay back there deeper in the field as well, but for Perriman, that's probably going to take him potentially out of this race, as he is still down pit road, still trying to get that car, work done here, trying to get it back out there. But we did see Zay back there in the 18th position. Applegate's back there as well, so make some different strategy out of that 57 and 5 right here throughout this run. But we're going to see a lot of drivers either come down pit road here or potentially try to stay out. Obviously, throughout these caution laps, you may be able to save enough fuel, enough tire that, you'll be sitting pretty throughout the rest of the stage. But getting this extra bit of fuel maybe eliminates all the question that you can make it to the end of the stage without having to worry about fuel. And I think that's what Colby Wells and drivers like Applegate and a lot of these other cats are kind of looking to do down pit side here. Not really going for tires. Actually, looks like Trent John's throwing some tires on here. So maybe a good use of a fresh set right here for the 8 ride. Maybe that'll help him work his way through the field and maybe chase down some of our front runners. But a lot of drivers going, kind of fuel only right there, just trying to get themselves set up here for the next run and potential final run of this stage. For Darren Engler, this time Engler does get the free pass, does get the lucky dog. Now, he is not back on the lead lap, but he is scored as 1 lap down. So that's a bit better, a little bit closer to being back into the action there if you are the 83 ride of Darren Engler. But for Jack Bulte still leading the charge here out in front. Caleb Holloman there in second. The 2 ride of Landon Burbage rolls in third with Matthew Wood and now Jason Bogart rounding out our top 5 as we'll get them all stacked up, racked up, ready to get back after it here for the completion of potentially our second stage of the day. As we're halfway through this stage and getting ready to get back into the actions, we'll get a quick word in from our sponsors over at KK Woodscapes Original Trophies.
Here at KK
Alrighty, here
Woodscapes,
we go back.
we only-
The green flag racing here from Pocono Raceway. As the tricky triangle in the wheel-to-wheel racing league back into action here for stage number 2. It's 48 laps on the board here. We still have about 12 laps left to go here in stage number 2 here this evening, and for right now, it's Jack Bulte out in front. Great restart, great launch through 1 and 2, and for the 27 ride, able to keep himself out in front of the field. Landon Burbage jumping into second here, able to work his way back around Caleb Holloman, who battles now door to door with Matthew Wood. Matthew wants to work his way into this third position, trying to push himself underneath that 77 by Holloman. Great run down and through corner 3, and here at the tricky triangle, the Dr. Pepper 77 ride will hang on to that third spot here on the Speedway. As Wood falls into 4th there, we do see Benjamin Romano in the 19 ride working his way up into 5th. Jason Bogart's there in 6th with Jaden Browder racing his way back up here as well. He's right into the battle here, door to door now with Bogart for that 6th spot of the Speedway, but we see the caution flag come back out. So there's the yellow flag again. This time it is Joseph Smith who goes around, and the yellow flag does come out. Unfortunately here, some pretty solid right front contact there for this number 31. Let's take a look at it, as kind of 3 wide right here, but it looks like the 13 ride gonna shoot it in there deep here, it looks like. So it looks like for the 13, a Michael Potter Jr. going to take a big run right here. Drives it deep down low underneath the 31 ride. Then, I don't know if he just gets loose and starts to travel up the racetrack. Gets a little helping hand there as well, trying to stay out of the 31. I think as he kind of checks up, knowing that he might get up and in to this 31 ride. I think that's where you're going to see the 13 machine, kind of roll out of the throttle here. You can see how he's already somewhat sideways right there, as he definitely got a big run. Sent it in there, and then right there, sideways, trying to catch it, has to roll the throttle, gets a piece of the 31, and then the 74 gets a piece of the 13, which helps that whole issue go along a little bit longer. I think right here, if there was no contact between the 13 and the 74, they probably would have been able to keep their car straight, but unfortunately, that extra little bit of contact, that extra little love nudge, gets the 31 right sideways. Trent Johns just able to sneak by him as Ponder, and unfortunately there for the 31 right of Joseph Smith, they get tied back up together again, and man, Smith right up the racetrack and kind of right into the lap right here. This is where a lot of that damage came from, as the 57 ride sees the 8 go to the high side and get around it. Applegate tries the same thing, just can't quite get there, and that was a big hit there, both for the 31 and for the 57 of Applegate. They get timed together there on the outside of corner number 1. Couple big hits, some very tore-up race cars there, and unfortunately, I think for Applegate, I think he kind of got the worst end of that deal, and he is parked down pit road, and he may be down there for a kind of extended period of time here, trying to get this thing repaired. And look at the damage on the front end of this Fish Speed Brakes number 57 ride. That thing is absolutely tore up. For the 31, it's definitely some pretty solid right front damage, but nowhere as bad is what Grant Applegate has gotten it. And there we go. We do see that number 83 rider, Darren Angler. Angler will get the free pass here. The lucky dog again goes to this 83 machine, and Darren will work his way back on the lead lap here. So back onto the lead lap, back into the action here this evening for that 17 right now. We did see Landon Burbage down pit road here as well. What in the world happened to Burbage? Because he's went a lap down now. What? So Burbage had come down pit road back on lap number 49, but he jumped down pit road here. He didn't actually pit, so I'm not sure if he lost connection or what may have happened here to the 2 ride, because he goes a lap down, but he doesn't pit. He jumps down pit road. This is an interesting one right here. Okay, so the lights are still on. When do we see something happened to the 2 rider, Landon Burbage. There's Burbage. Rolling in second here, was having himself a great day at the Speedway, and then right here, yeah, he's still out there. That's the caution. That's the wreck there at a corner number 1. Huh. Yeah, this is interesting because he comes down pit road, lap 49, jumped to pits, didn't enter the pits. And in Burbage, connection dropped due to download packet loss. Oh no. So that's what happens to Landon Burbage. Packet loss gets him. It yeets him and deletes him. Luckily enough, he was able to load back in right there, just as lap 49 was completed. That's when he gets yeeted out of the screen there, and unfortunately off of the racetrack. Now, luckily enough, he is back out there with that caution flag. Darren Engler gets back on the lead lap here. I believe Xavier Rungelbrug, he's still in the lead lap here himself after making multiple trips down pit road. Obviously has some front end damage here for the 5 ride that he's trying to get repaired. But for Landon Burbage, he is in the lucky dog position now. He is in that free pass spot as the 1 driver 1 lap down. But now we'll have to try to make up a lot of ground here. Not only a lot of ground to get the caution flag at the stage break to get back on a lead lap, but having to work his way through the traffic and back up into the battle here at the front of the field is no easy task, and will have to be putting himself back there in the hornet's nest to get through the traffic here this evening. Now, Grant Applegate, looks like Applegate has taken himself out of this race, as he is no longer out there on the speedway and no longer down pit road. And I believe for Jordan Fisher, still, unfortunately, I believe for Fish here, he is 3 laps down out there on the racetrack, 3 laps down, something like that. So, unfortunately for Jordan here, he is still a bit more back behind the 8 ball there. Unfortunately, still back behind, still kind of in a tough spot out there on the speedway, and will obviously need some more lucky breaks to kind of go his way to try to get himself back into the battle, back into the action here this evening, as he rolls back in the 20th position as we get them all locked and loaded, ready to get back after it here. Jack Buelte out in front, sees the green flag fly down through that Geico restart zone in the 27 ride. Good launch, good jump right there, and looking to hopefully try to keep all these drivers back there behind him, wanting to try to pick up our second stage win of the evening. But things have definitely gotten a little bit more chaotic here. Midway through our second stage of the day, a whole lot more movement, a whole lot more craziness, and caution flags may not be done flying yet here in this stage. We may still see a couple more prior to the end of this stage break here this evening, as the number 27 ride sitting out in front. I'm sure he wouldn't mind a few more yellows, getting himself a little closer to that checkered flag, but he is sitting out in front. He's feeling A-okay. He's got about 0.4 of a second between himself and Matthew Wood, who rolls there in position number 2. The 77 ride of Caleb Holloman there in third, with Jaden Browder in position number 4 and looking for more. Benjamin Romano's there in that 5th spot with Jason Bogart, Stephen Blevins. The number 37 of Evan Stewart rolls there in 8th with Ryan Haller and Jaden Porter rounding out our top 10. So good to see Haller still up inside our top 10, and right there ready to try to make some moves, trying to work his way around Blevins, and maybe that 37 of Evan Stewart trying to work his way a little closer back to the front of the pack here in that 60 ride. Now one driver a little deeper there behind them. In the 8 ride is Trent Johns. Trent was down pit road back on lap 45, did get fresh tires here for that 8 machine. Does he got something left in the tank here? Can he work his way up there and maybe make some passes, work his way inside the top 10 here before the end of the stage? You do see that 39 ride of Jordan Fisher, unfortunately, back there with him. Fisher still multiple laps down out there on the racetrack, still stuck in a difficult position here this evening, but we do see Zay back there still looking to get some damage repaired here out of the 5 ride. I'm not 100% sure where he actually got that damage. It's been on one of the restarts or something that he had gotten tied up into it and had gotten some damage out of it. And unfortunately for Zay, just being back there deep in the pack is definitely affected this race car, because it's kind of killed all the speed out of it, and plus, I mean, potentially just trying to, get that thing repaired still, maybe not trying to push too hard where it causes more damage or more issues here for him throughout this race. So we'll keep a close eye there, see if Zane can race his way back up towards the front, if we can see potentially, Fisher or Landon Burbage, some of these other drivers get back on the lead lap and back into the action here this evening. Now, we do see Ben Needus still out there. Ben is, unfortunately, multiple laps down here as well. 4 laps down out there on the speedway. For Applegate, Logan Perriman and Michael Durham Jr., looks like their nights have all come to an early close here. So, start with 23. We're down to only 20 drivers still rolling out there on the racetrack, with Landon Burbage being the driver in the free pass position, hoping to see this stage come to a quick close and getting that wave around. The lucky dog back on the lead lap there for that number 2 ride to get himself right back into the action here this evening. For the 27 of Jack Bulty, though, Jack out in front, hoping to try to keep this gap, hoping to try to continue to pull farther and farther away here from Matthew Wood, as Matthew rolls there in second. Browder has worked his way up into the third here, as the Coupons.com Toyota up and into that third spot here on the speedway. Caleb Holloman has fallen back into fourth. Jason Bogart, Stephen Blevins, Benjamin Romano now falling back to 7th, as here comes Ryan Haller around the outside there. The Fish B number 37 machine of Evan Stewart. Evan is going to slide back to position number 9. Ryan Haller back up inside our top 8. So Haller starting to pick up a couple of these drivers, starting to make some moves here towards the end of this stage. Only 4 laps left to go. Be 3 this time by the start-finish line in the 60 ride, trying to gain some extra points here in stage number 2 before it closes. As the 27 ride, though, out in front, back down and out of core number 3 across the line here at Pocono Raceway. Jack Bulty will complete lap number 57. 3 laps left to go here in stage number 2 here at Pocono Raceway, as we inch closer and closer to the checkered flag here this evening. And obviously, we're right there, almost at the end of this stage break, man. This is going to be interesting. This is going to be fun to see kind of what happens. Who's going to win the race off of pit road? Who's going to make some strategy calls? Obviously, we've seen some drivers kind of make the strategies of, tires or no tires, 2 tires as well, potentially becoming a play here, and everyone trying to get that extra leg up, that extra little bit that could potentially put them into a winning position out there on the speedway. So it'll be fun to see. It'll be fun to watch, to see kind of how this one gets played out. It's Pocono Raceway, man. It's always such a fun racetrack to come to. Always some great racing, but it can always be some crazy finishes here as well, man. And it's the best part about coming here to Pocono Raceway, is that you just never quite know when the craziness starts to build up, when those late race cautions fly, and we see these drivers 2 wide, 3 wide, maybe even a little 4 and 5 wide, back down the straightaways and into these corners, man. It is a absolute blast. And here tonight, these drivers doing a fantastic job of, keeping some good green flag laps rolling, continue to click them off here, and inching us closer and closer to the checkered flag this afternoon, as the 67 of Jack Bulty back down across the line will complete lap number 59. So 59 laps now completed here this evening, our final lap of stage number 2. Jack out in front, great lead here between himself and Matthew Wood, as Wood has some pressure here as well, trying to hold off that Coupons.com number 11 ride of Jaden Browder. Caleb Hallman rolls there in 4th, with Jason Bogart there in 5th. Benjamin Romano trying to hold on to position number 6. Blevins right there with them. Same with that 60 rider, Ryan Haller. Haller's looking to try to gain a couple extra spots and a few extra points here before the end of this stage. Unfortunately, couldn't make anything happen down through the tunnel turn, as down into corner number 3. And out of 3, because there is no turn 4 here at the Tricky Triangle, stage number 2 is going to go to the 27 of Jack Beauty here this evening, as Jack able to pick up the checkered flag here in our second stage of the evening. Jack wins that stage. Matthew Wood comes home in second, so our stage 1 winner now comes home second here in stage number 2. Some great stage points here for the 16 ride. Browder's back there in third with Caleb Hulleman, Jason Bogart. Our top 5 there in stage number 2. Benjamin Romano, Stephen Blevins, Ryan Haller, Evan Stewart, and Jaden Porter all earning some stage points there as Porter rounds out our top 10 in stage number 2. Unfortunately for Wells, Thompson, Johns, Ruggle, Bruggy, Anglers there in 15th. Michael Potter Jr., Joseph Smith, Landon Burbage, Fisher, Needis, Applegate, Perriman, and Durham Jr. all will not get any stage points there in stage number 2. Now, great break is for the Prince's Towing. Number 2 rider, Landon Burbage. Burbage will get the free pass. He will get the lucky dog that will put him back onto the lead lap, back into the action here this evening. So that is a great break there for that 2 ride, Landon Burbage this afternoon. So for Landon, get himself back into the battle, hoping not to have any more connection issues there, as we saw that he had unfortunately lost connection to the server due to packet upload loss, and unfortunately for the 2 ride, kind of had to be kicked out of the server by iRacing, had to quickly reload back in. Luckily enough, all it cost him was a lap, and with only about 8 laps left to go on the stage. Unfortunately, he did miss out on any good stage points. Had a really good car. He was running in that second position at the time of the caution flag, and at the time that he had the upload packet loss issues. So unfortunately, probably gave up some really good stage points, maybe even potentially a stage win. Does set him back a ton, obviously going a lap down, but now with the wave around, he will still be at the rear of the field here and having to pass a lot of drivers, having to try to chip away at that and battle his way back into a good, solid finish here this evening. So we'll have to keep a close eye on what Burbage is able to do. Unfortunately for Fisher, we saw his issues in that Fish Speed Breaks number 39 ride and his extended period of time down pit road, getting this car repaired, and it looks like he's going to elect to stay out right here. So he stays out. Everyone else hits pit road. But we do see Burbage and Fisher. Obviously, Burbage going for the lucky dog here. Looks like the 39 rider, Jordan Fisher, is going to get the wave around here as well, which is quite surprising because normally the wave around you don't get until after everyone makes the pit stops. And I think the 39 ride's kind of realizing that right now, is that it's not a get up and go thing. You don't get to go at the same time as the 2 ride of Landon Burbage. You got to wait your turn back behind that pace car until probably the next time by the start finish line before you get that wave. Now, Angler did make another trip down pit road here and got a black flag as well. So we'll see what that penalty may be for the 83 machine, but we do see Matthew Wood able to win the race off of pit road. Browder comes out in second with Holloman there in third. Our stage 2 winner, Jack Beauty, comes out in fourth with Bogart, Haller, Blevins, Evans, Stewart. Austin Thompson comes out ninth, and Jaden Porter there still inside our top 10 here for the restart. Benjamin Romano, Trent Johns, Xavier Ruggle, Bruggy's there in 13th, and we should see probably Kobe Wells, Angler, Joseph Smith, Burbage, who is able to make a good quick pit stop, able to work himself on the lead lap here. Michael Potter Jr. as well, still down pit road now for Jordan Fisher. There he is. He has had to fall back to that pace truck, has to sit behind the pace truck here until we get the 1 to go. Then he gets the wave around. And unfortunately for Jordan Fisher, the thing is if we don't get a quick caution flag, the strategy could really hurt him here in the long run. We'll have to wait and see, because he's going to be on older tires. He's going to have less fuel. He's going to have to hit pit road a lot sooner than everybody else is. He's going to have to try to really get on the hammer here, as there it is. He's able to get the wave, so that does get him at least a lap back here. So I believe he is now only 2 laps down, but he was last down pit road on lap number 32. That was 30 laps ago. Fuel is going to be really, really tight for him, and if we run 2 or 3 green flag laps, maybe 4 or 5 green flag laps, we'll have to wait and see. Eventually, he's going to need that fuel. He's going to have to make this pit stop, and, I mean, he might get lucky enough here. I mean, if he can work his way around here quick enough, I mean, yeah, these guys are still down through 1 and 2. I mean, the laps here at Pocono under yellow are so freaking slow that he might be able to make this pit stop after the wave around. And that would work out perfectly for him, because that would put him back on par with fuel and tires and ready to rock and roll. But we're going to see him stay out right here. So he does stay out. I thought maybe we'd see him hit pit lane right there and maybe try to squeeze in a pit stop. But pit road is closed, so that may have gave him a... No, green light was on. Pit road did say open right there. All right, interesting call here. So I think Fisher's just banking on hopefully a caution flag or something. I'm not sure, but we'll keep a close eye on it. See if he does have to make an unscheduled pit stop, but we're going to get ready to go back to green flag racing. Maybe he just thought maybe making that pit stop would potentially serve a penalty, or potentially, you know, would still put him a lap down anyway, so you really wouldn't be at any advantage. So we'll see how that plays out for that 39 ride throughout this run. But for right now, we get ready to set them back loose. Wood, Browder, 1 and 2, ready to get back at it here at Pocono Raceway. The tricky triangle here this evening is, here we go, the 16 of Wood back into the throttle, and here we go back into the action. Green flag is back out, as we did see Ben Neatis down pit road. There's the 39 rider Jordan Fisher still with him, but Matthew Wood, great restart, great launch, able to keep himself out in front, holds on to the race lead down through corner number 1, and as they're door-to-door tight racing back there for third, Buelty and the 77 rider Caleb Holloman in a tight battle. Looks like the 27, the outside lane, will prevail, as now Haller working to the outside of that 77 machine, trying to steal position number 4 away from Caleb Holloman. And it looks like, again, I mean, Holloman just showing he's got some great speed out of this Dr. Pepper 77 ride, able to really keep his foot in the throttle there through corner number 3, and oh man, Holler's all over him. Little contact there, up into the fence ever so slightly for the 77 ride. Luckily enough, doesn't look like any major damage, but Heyman Haller definitely lost quite a bit of momentum there down the front straightaway, and for Haller, he's at least able to jump up for the time being back into that 4th position and around the 77 of Caleb Holloman. Holloman again up into the fence on corner exit right there, as you do see Jason Bogart, Evan Stewart, the 23 right of Austin Thompson, Jaden Browder's right there in that 9th position. Stephen Blevins rounding out our top 10, rolling to the inside of that 74, trying to steal the 9th spot away from him. Right there, you do see the number 19 of Benjamin Romano, Trent Johns, Xavier Rongobragi. Looks like that car, for the most part, is fixed back up. We'll have to wait and see if potentially Xavier can race his way back to the front of the pack here. Joseph Smith, who's had awful luck right from the start of this race. The 31 ride, though, is, you know, back into one good piece here. Still at the rear of the field. We'll see if he can work his way up towards the front. Same with that 45 of Kobe Wells, trying to get back up there. And that 2 ride of Landon Burbage, who just got the lucky dog, the free pass back on the lead lap. And now battling his way back to the front of the pack, as Michael Potter Jr., Darren Engler rounding out our lead lap drivers there in the 18th position. Jordan Fisher, unfortunately, did have to come down pit road. He did have to make that pit stop, and he is still in front of our race leaders. I think he's far enough in front as he just heads down across the line right there. Our race leaders are down and through corner number 3 here, so they're about a straightaway back behind him. You can kind of see the gap right there between Jordan Fisher and our race leaders, and potentially Jordan losing another lap out there on the racetrack. As of right now, he is still only 2 laps down out there on the speedway. So I mean, he's not he's definitely not out of it, and if he can catch a timely caution flag here, would definitely work into his favor, but we'll have to wait and see how that all plays out. As for right now, Matthew Wood out in front, leading the charge. Jaden Browder's there in second. Browder from the back of the pack here this afternoon started in position, I believe, number 19 here today. 19th, 18th, something like that for Browder's where he started. He's up 17 positions, rolling in that second spot out there on the racetrack. You look back here at Caleb Holloman, who started at the rear of the field in 23rd. He's up 18 positions, still holding on to a top 5 here this evening. For Evan Stewart, Evan started back in 21st. He's up 15 spots now into the 6th spot here on the Speedway. Bogart started back in 22nd. He's up 15 positions, and he rolls here in position number 7. So for Holloman, Stewart, and Bogart, all 3 of those drivers started outside of our top 20 here today. All 3 of them currently sit inside our top 7. Wow, what a turn of events for those 3 drivers, Holloman, Stewart, and Bogart. Qualifying badly there back in 21st, 22nd, and 23rd, but to be able to be, just past halfway in this race after 69 laps of duking it out here this evening, they're up inside the top 7 and rolling absolutely A-OK here this evening. It's Matthew Wood continues to lead the charge, though. Wood out in front. Browder's there in second. Then we see Jack Pulte in third. Ryan Haller back up into position number 4 and looking for more. Holloman's there in 5th. That's where we see Evan Stewart, Bogart, and Austin Thompson there as well in the 8th position. Xavier Ragobragi looking to work his way back up through our top 10 as the number 5 ride now jumps into the 9th position, navigating his way around Jaden Porter. So Porter falls back to 10th here. He's got Trent Johns and Benjamin Romano right there on his back bumper as he pushes up the racetrack through corner number 3. Right there with him as well, you do see that is Joseph Smith, Kobe Wells, and Landon Burbage all ready to strike, ready to try to work their way a little closer to the top 10 here this evening. Wells pushes down to the inside. The 31 of Smith to the outside here. Trent Johns maybe stuck kind of right in the middle here. Looks like Smith maybe gave up on that run, kind of rolled out of the throttle, knowing that exiting that corner 3 wide may not work out into their favor. So nice, calmly and probably smartly rolled out of it there and kind of got himself out of that 3 wide battle. Well, here comes that 2 ride of Landon Burbage after losing connection to the server. Going a lap down, getting the lucky dog, getting back on the lead lap here. Burbage, who had been running up inside the top 5 for pretty much the majority of this race, especially prior to that internet issue. The 2 ride was rolling in that second position, looking really, really strong there in stage number 2. And obviously that killed any stage points for the 2 ride, but maybe can still scrape out a really good finish here this evening. We'll have to wait and see if Burbage can get his way back up here to our top 2, top 3 here this evening. But Matthew Wood out in front, just looking to try to set sail here. Things really opening up here after a good green flag run. Obviously, we've already clicked off quite a bit of laps since the start of this final stage of the day. And for the 16 ride, the 11 of Browder, a lot of these drivers, man, they love to see this race stay clean and green. Now, there's still some pretty good battling back here, a little deeper in the field as you see Xavier Rungo-Brunke able to work his way into 8th after getting around the 23 of Austin Thompson. So Thompson does fall back into 9th. Rungo-Brunke back up into 8th, trying to work his way back to the point here late in this race. Jaden Porter still there in 10th as each and every one of these drivers had just completed lap number 72. So 72 laps down here this evening, and I believe it's 40 laps left to go here today. 40 more laps left to duke it out if my calculations are correct, as We'll get each and every one of these drivers ready to rock and roll, ready to battle here for the final 40 laps of racing action after we jump into a quick Uncle Rodney crank it up. So ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, what we want you to do right now is crank up that volume, cheer on Uncle Rodney, as Uncle Rodney, our sponsor of the Crank It Up, here again this evening and for every evening with the Wheel to Wheel Racing League. Is the Crank It Up presented by Uncle Rodney. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you know what to do. Crank up that volume and cheer on your favorite drivers here in the Wheel to Wheel Racing League. already a beautiful crank it up session here this evening, powered by Uncle Rodney here in the Wheel to Wheel Racing League as a beautiful crank it up session, giving you the sights and sounds around Pocono Raceway, the tricky triangle here this evening. As out in front, now leading the charge, it is the 11 ride of Jaden Browder. Browder at the point, Woods there in second with Jack Bulty in position number 3. Evan Stewart has raced his way up and into 4th as the 60 of Ryan Haller trying to hold on to the 5th position, but he's got Xavier Rugglebrugge and Colby Wells right there ready to pounce, ready to try and steal that 5th position away from him here on the Speedway. And it looks like Rugglebrugge with the power down out at corner number 3 is able to complete that pass, steals position number 5 away from Haller. But we do see one driver coming down pit road here. It is the Dr. Pepper number 77 rider, Caleb Holloman, making what could be potentially his final pit stop of the evening, as this could be our final wave of pit stops here today, and it could come down to a little bit of pit strategy on when you either want to hit pit road, on if you want to stay out a little longer, if you've been saving a little bit of tire and fuel, maybe you want to use it before you come down pit road and get a new fresh set of tires. So for a lot of these drivers, that could definitely be part of the game plan here. Just keep on rolling, try to work your way into a position where you're going to be absolutely fine on fuel, even if we were to go to double or triple overtime here this evening, and making sure that maybe you get that little extra fresher tire, maybe a little extra boost there late in this race to try to work your way a little farther forward, as we do see Colby Wells now navigating his way around Xavier Rugglebrugge, and here comes Haller trying to battle back to the inside here, looking underneath his Zay again for position number 6. Unfortunately, just cannot carry that run, that momentum at a corner number 1. He'll stay there in 7th, but Wells does jump up into that 5th position here on the Speedway. Rugglebrugge falls back into position number 6 here. Now Evan Stewart next in line here for the 45, as Colby Wells has been steamrolling his way through the field here, definitely showing that he's got some really good pace, some really good speed out of that 45 ride, and looking to continue to keep on navigating his way closer and closer to the front of the pack. As here we go, we do see Jack Bulty, we see Xavier Rugglebrugge, Jason Bogart, Jaden Porter, here comes Landon Burbage also down pit road. So 5 more competitors making what could be their final pit stops of the day. So potentially our final pit stops of the evening for each and every one of these drivers. But it's going to come down to the nitty-gritty here, I think. I don't know. The tire wear definitely can play a factor, but really our race leaders are running about 0.8 a second slower than their best lap times here on the Speedway. So they haven't really given up a whole lot. The tire wear, they're really not running super far off the pace, but nonetheless, they're not going to wait much longer, and they both hit pit road. They both got to be careful on speed. You see the tire lockup out of the 11 ride of Browder trying to get down to pit road speed. Luckily enough, looks like no black flag, no pit road speeding violation for either driver, as we do see Colby Wells now down pit road. Here comes Evan Stewart, Ryan Haller, Trent John, Stephen Blevins all down pit road. So it'll be interesting to see where, those fresh tires kind of come out, if they can, maybe consume the race lead, or if maybe they'll be still back behind our race leaders. You do see Jack Bulty, Xavier Rugglebrugge, still a pretty big gap between those two out there on the racetrack, but Jack down and out at corner number 3 here at Pocono, down the front straightaway. Big run right here. Here comes Matthew Wood and Browder. They're just picking up speed, and I believe for Jack, he's going to come out with the top spot. So good pit cycle for the number 27 ride. Jack Bulty may potentially consume this race lead here with that earlier pit stop. That may have worked out exactly how he needed it to try to put him up into the winner's circle, as Austin Thompson and Benjamin Romano now down pit side themselves. our final two drivers here on the lead lap to make this green flag pit stop. So the 23 and the number 19 hit their pit stalls. The crews will go to work. They'll get their cars serviced here. Fuel, tires, everything else that they desire. We'll see where they kind of fall back out of the pits here as things will cycle back around as there goes Jack and across the line and down across pit road here. He will consume the race lead. So it is Jack Bulte back out in front of the pack here. Matthew Wood there in second. Browder's in position number 3 now for Browder. He ended up losing not just one spot, but 2 spots there. 1 to Wood and 1 to Jack Bulte. Gives up the race lead and now sits in position number 3. Kobe Wells there in 4th. Man, Wells has just been a rocket ship here, especially in the second half, man. He has been working his way through the traffic. He's raced his way from the rear of the field up here to the front, and he continues to show some great pace, some great speed out of that 45. Ryan looking less like maybe Kobe Wells, looking maybe a little bit more like Jordan Fisher out there doing those fish speed things and trying to race his way up to the front of the pack here, trying to put himself up and into what could be the winner's circle here this evening. Evan Stewart's there in 5th with Xavier Ruggelbrugge back in 6th. Joseph Smith there in 7th. Ryan Haller, Caleb Holloman, Landon Burbage now rounding out our top 10 as Burbage actually going to work to the inside here of Holloman for the 9th position here on the racing surface. And there you go, the Princess Towing number 2 ride does slide up in front of him, and it is Burbage back in the 9th here. Holloman falls to 10th as Austin Thompson, Jason Bogart, Benjamin Romano, Trent Johns, and Stephen Blevins round out our top 15 in the 15 ride. Jaden Porter, Darren Engler's there in 17th. Engler is the last driver on the lead lap. Michael Ponder Jr. now finds himself as the first driver 1 and or 2 laps down out there on the racetrack. I think potentially about to be 2 laps down here this evening. Jordan Fisher, unfortunately, still, I believe, 3 laps down out there on the racetrack here for Fisher, and unfortunately our race leaders are still not too far back there behind him, man. They are right there. I'm sure they would love to try to put him another lap down, make sure that there is no chance he can try to battle back with, probably not seeing 5-6 caution flags late in this race to get Jordan back in on the action. So we'll have to wait and see how that plays out. But for Jack Bulte out in front, continue to lead the charge here. Woods in second, Browder's there in 3rd. Wells in position number 4, man. He continues to keep on marching forward, trying to close the gap here and reel in our front runners. He's been running maybe a little quicker than Jack Bulte and Matthew Wood. Last time around, Browder was one of the fastest drivers out there on the racetrack, but wait and see, man. This is all about the long game here at Pocono Raceway. You don't want to burn it all up too quickly. You want to make sure you got something left in the tank for the closing laps. And with just under 20 laps left to go in this race, I mean, it is pay windows open, chat. Pay windows open. Your time to shine is now. And if you got a car, if you got the opportunity or the possibility to potentially jump up there and battle for this race win, there is no holding back. There is no giving an inch out there. It is all take, no give. And you got to get up and top the wheel and try to steal every single inch, every single position that you absolutely can this late in the race. And for Jack Bulte, he's got to do everything he can to keep the rest of these guys back there at bay. You gotta be picture perfect out in front. You cannot make a mistake. You cannot open up the door to where, it closes up that half a second gap or gives a lane or a line there to Matthew Wood to maybe be able to jump up and steal the top spot away from you here late in this run. So I think that's exactly what Jack has got to do, especially being, down pit road a lap earlier. He's got a lap older tires on this 27 ride, so he's going to have to try to find a little something extra out there on the racetrack to keep him back there behind him, as we do see Jaden Browder in position number 3. The gap between him and Kobe Wells, our 4th place driver, is about 1.75 seconds, maybe a little closer to that 1.8 seconds between Browder and Wells. So Wells does have quite a bit of ground to make up, but we'll see, how much of that ground he can continue to chip off at and see if he can try to reel in our top 3 and park this Fish B number 45 ride up and onto the podium here this evening. Evan Stewart rolls there in 5th, man. Started off like it was going to be maybe a rough race for this 37 ride. Really not his run in stage number 1 as he had to stretch out that fuel for a long time. Came down pit road with a lap left to go in the stage. So unfortunately didn't get any stage points, but he was at the rear of the field there, deep in the pack, but has made the right calls, the right decisions, and now finds this 37 ride in a really good spot late in this race, trying to come home with a good, solid top 5 run. Xavier Rugglebruggy rolls there in 6th with Ryan Haller back in 7th. Landon Burbage back up into the 8th position, so he's clicking them off here and slowly but surely working his way back up towards the front as well, trying to salvage something out of the day there for the 2 ride. Austin Thompson's in 9th and Caleb Holloman rounding out our top 10 here on the Speedway with a battle out in front, and it is just eating up with Jack Buelty continuing to lead the charge. You gotta wonder here if maybe Wood and Browder maybe holding back a little bit, maybe trying to save a little bit here, just being kind of comfy, still in the draft, still right there with the 27 ride. You gotta wonder if maybe they're just allowing this 27 right now to maybe burn up his tires a little bit, maybe try to push a little too hard, and for the 16-11 ride, they can just go to work, in the next 5-10 laps to get around him with maybe a little bit more ease than struggle here late in this race. We'll have to wait and see, but here we go, 13 ride just in front of our race leaders, hits pit road there. That was Michael Ponder Jr. in the Mountain Dew Pitch Black. Number 13 ride hitting pit road, so Ponder does hit pit road and off and out of the way of being traffic here that our race leaders would have to deal with. So great move there as that kind of allows these guys to have a little bit more clean air, a little fresh track right there, and able to take a big run here. As here we go down the long pond back straightaway. You can see them snaking down the straightaways now, trying to break that draft, trying to keep a little bit of extra dirty air maybe on the nose of the car back behind you, and trying to give yourself maybe that extra little bit. You see Matthew Wood right there. That was a pretty solid lick into the outside fence. Here comes Browder down to the inside. You gotta wonder what kind of damage that may have produced for the Outlier Speedco number 16 as Wood out of the tunnel turn pushed up the racetrack, hard contact into that outside fence, but now all over the back bumper here of the Coupons.com number 11 of Jaden Browder, and pushing Browder down the front straightaway, and they are rolling to Jack Buelty in a quick hurry. We keep seeing Wood go into this high side in corner 1 and 2. It's been working all right for him, but you gotta wonder if maybe the bottom lane still is the preferred lane. Maybe there is still something extra down there that could help propel these guys a little farther forward and a little bit more speed to try to track down our race leaders. We'll have to see if Wood maybe changes his lineup a little bit. Luckily enough, that damage that he had gotten off of hitting corner number 2 exit wall, it doesn't look like it's really affected this race car. He lost a lot of speed, a lot of momentum there down that straightaway. Luckily enough, only lost that 1 position to Browder. Browder probably says thank you very much, as that's going to allow him to try to chase down Jack Buelty to look to try to steal this race lead with only 13 laps left to go here in this race. On number 112 laps. I don't know how we got to that one. I don't know why we just didn't call it 110 or 115, something a little bit more, kind of in the middle or on the ends of numbers kind of deal. I don't know. 112 is definitely a weird one for me. It's like all those races that are 267, like, what is 267? Why not just call it 260 or 270? Something like that, like, I just don't understand the odd random 2 extra laps kind of deal or something like that. I don't know. It always seems weird to me, but nonetheless, for the 27 ride, I always keep reading the our overlay, and it says the 67. Jack Bulty is no longer the 67 car. He is the 27 car. We'll click off another lap as he completes lap 100. It's 12 laps left to go, and it's about 12 inches between him and Jaden Browder out there on the speedway. Browder right on his back bumper, trying to take a big run down through corner 1 and 2, looking to carry a lot of speed and momentum down the back straightaway, and here comes the run that he was looking for. He's not going to wait around. He's not going to bide any time and try to save a little bit back behind him. He wants the race lead, but the caution flag flies. Yellow flag is out. Woo, baby, here we go. We thought maybe this was going to happen, man. These late race caution flags, the potential of NASCAR overtime in the late race chaos and carnage to ensue here in the Wheel-to-Wheel Racing League. And here at Pocono Raceway, man, these caution flags, as I said, you know, they take a long time. They chew a lot of time up here at Pocono, but it's going to be very, very exciting to see what these drivers have up their sleeve here for this final couple restarts potentially. So let's take a look back at it, see what happens. I believe we're going to see Ryan Haller run into some issues here. Well, I'm not sure if he's going to get a little helping hand from the two-rider, Landon Burbage. Burbage kind of on his back bumper right here. Down into corner number 1, so Haller shoots it in there. Two-ride. Just a little farther. No, just looks like the 60 starts to lose the rear end. You see him get loose right there as it kind of breaks loose, and he tries to save it. You can see the car just kind of wiggle a little bit, and I think right here he's trying to save it, cranking the wheel to the right, and then it kind of just snaps up the racetrack. He cranks it back to the left to try to save it. Unfortunately, by that time it was already going for a slide up into the outside fence. Pretty good lick there for the 60 ride as he clobbers the outside fence there in corner number 1 and comes to a rest right there. That's where we see that caution flag fly. A tough break there for our pole sitter, Ryan Haller, but this yellow flag will make things that much more interesting here. What's the call late in this race? Do you hit pit road? Do you get fuel? Do you get tires? Or do you say, you know, keep this track position, keep the fresh tires that you have, you know, maybe back there a little while longer? Or if you don't have any fresh tires, then you just got to hope that whatever bend you've made, you can lay in. Here we go. Okay, so we are going to see, oh, no, a little bit of a fake out right there. Okay, Browder, Wood, Kobe Wells, Ruggles, Brugge, Burbage, Austin Thompson. So many drivers hitting pit road right here, but Jack Bulty, Evan Stewart, Benjamin Romano, and Jaden Porter all stay out. All right. Alrighty, that's going to get interesting. All right, so we got 4 drivers that elect to stay out. Now, not sure where Jordan Fisher's going, trying to get another wave around or something right here. He was not in the lucky dog position. That belongs to the 13 of Michael Ponder Jr. And for Fisher, I believe, with these 4 drivers staying out, he is not in line for the free pass here, unfortunately. He's back behind lead lap cars. He will have to stay behind the lead lap cars and will unfortunately not be in line for another free pass out there on the racetrack. And unfortunately, late in this race, being 2 laps down, man, he's going to need a couple more big caution flags here. And with Ponder getting the free pass right there, he's still not on the lead lap. I believe Ponder is still 1 lap down himself. So unfortunately for Fisher, he doesn't need just 2 caution flags. He needs 3 caution flags if he wants to get back on the lead lap here late in this race. And I mean, nothing's out of the question. That could definitely happen. That could definitely work out for him. But we'll have to wait and see as we get them all stacked up, racked up, ready to get back after it here in this one for what will be some late race craziness here in the Wheel-to-Wheel Racing League. As we'll get a quick word in from our sponsors over at KK Woodscapes. Alrighty, here we go. Ready to set them back loose here from the tricky triangle. 8 laps left to go here this evening, and the green flag is back out into the air. Great launch, great jump right there for the number 27 ride of Jack Beauty. Jack with a great restart, great launches. Evan Stewart, Benjamin Romano, and I believe it was the 74 ride of Jaden Porter. All did not come down pit road. They all have all their tires and hang onto it. Landon Burbage. Oh no, Burbage down the Long Pond back straightaway, man. Huge hit, heavy damage to that Princess Towing number 2 ride, as I think they got stacked up a little bit here behind the 74 Porter, who has older tires, is slower, has to roll the throttle, and you see Porter already kind of into the fence right here. A few other drivers into the fence as well. We're going to watch the 74 kind of just push up the racetrack. The 2's coming in there with a big head of steam, and I think the 2 was going to get into him nonetheless, even if the 74 didn't get into the wall, but they hit the wall kind of together. Good right side damage for the 2 ride, and unfortunately where he hits him kind of pushed him down the racetrack, and then here he goes down across some of the bumps into the infield safer barrier, and a huge hit right there for Landon Burbage. Unfortunately, I think that's probably going to take him out of the running here this evening, as here he is down pit side, taking this thing down to the crew. They're going to go to work. Unfortunately, this late in the race, I don't see that thing getting repaired in time and back into the action here this evening. As now you see Wood, the 27, so many more drivers bouncing off the outside fence. Here comes Colby Wells around the outside of Matthew Wood, trying to steal position number 2 away from the 16, and he's able to put the power down through corner 3 and 4, and it is Wells who jumps up into second. Jack Beauty, though, out in front, continuing to lead the charge. Browder working his way down low, trying to get around Wood and the 19 machine right there, Benjamin Romano. So he does make that pass. Wood way up the racetrack there through corner 1 and 2. I think that outside fence finally hitting it, unfortunately, I think may have did a little bit more damage than he was expecting. You can see how much he's leaking positions and continue to fall farther and farther back there, deeper through the field. But Jack Beauty out in front on the older tires. Last down pit road, back on lap number 88. He's got about 12, 13 laps of green flag racing on this set of tires compared to the fresh tires back here behind him, and Colby Wells looking to use this caution flag in the good pit strategy to his advantage, trying to race his way out in front of the field, trying to put himself finally up and into victory lane here in the wheel-to-wheel racing league. Browder sits there in third with Evan Stewart up and into position number 4. Benjamin Romano doing a great job holding on to that 5th position here. So both Evan Stewart and Romano both did not pit there during that caution flag, and right now it's working out pretty well for them as they roll there in 4th and 5th. Porter's there in 6th, able to hang on to it even after the contact between him and the outside fence and the 2 right of Landon Burbage. Oh, a little bit more contact back there as the 5 right of Xavier Rugglebruggy. I think it's a little bit of a bump and run to Caleb Holloman down through corner number 2. Unfortunately, that washes Holloman up the racetrack into the outside fence there out of corner number 2. That'll move the 77 ride back into the 15th position. You can see Matthew Wood continuing to lose positions. Wood all the way back here in the 13th spot. There goes Haller around his inside, and there you go. Ryan Haller has now worked his way back up into 13th here. Matthew Wood, with that heavy right front damage, falls back into 14th here on the Speedway. Unfortunately for the outlier Speedco number 16 ride, it's just continuing to get worse as he pushes himself up there into the outside fence again, and then we see Caleb Holloman also go around here. So Holloman goes around, potentially his right front damage, doing the exact same thing. Maybe just getting a little loose, maybe a little bit too much of the apron right here, I think, for the 77. Car just gets unbalanced, starts to slide. Tries to save it. Sap hooks back up the racetrack into the outside fence. Big hit there for him, unfortunately, at the tail end of the field. No caution flag, so we stay clean and green out there on the racetrack. And for Jack Buelte, he's loving that as he's got this clean air. He's got only a few laps left to go. Can he hold off the 45 ride of Colby Wells and the 11 of Jaden Browder as they both try to track him down? Wells only a few car lengths back of this 27 ride. Browder a little further back there, and then a decent gap between them and that number 37 of Evan Stewart, who rolls in fourth. Benjamin Romano there in fifth. Jaden Porter's there in sixth. Then we see Xavier Rogelbrugge back up into the sixth position. Smith is there in seventh. A few more drivers bouncing it off the outside fence. Exiting the tunnel turn there was Bogart, Austin Thompson, Trent Johns. All right there as you see the 39 ride. That is Mr. Fisher. Unfortunately, still a couple laps down here. Unfortunately, I don't think he's going to really gain any more spots unless we see some more craziness here in the closing laps that could potentially have more drivers parked down pit road for an extended period of time where he can jump up and snag those positions. But here we go. Buelte continues to lead the charge. Browder down low, trying to find something under Colby Wells late in this race as they are door to door. Little side draft down the Long Pond back straightaway. Unfortunately for Browder, couldn't quite stay there to the inside of Wells, but definitely showing them that, hey, I am here. I am ready to get a move on. They are running out of time as they head down into corner number 3 here at the Tricky Triangle. It's Jack Buelte out in front, who's got the race lead, looking to try to put himself into victory lane here this evening. Browder and Wells will have only one more lap left to try to get it done. Wells couple car lengths back. Browder's right there with them. They're trying to close that gap back down into corner number 1 for our final lap here this evening. Who will get it done? Will Jack hold them both back there at bay? Will potentially Colby Wells or Jaden Browder be able to take a run and steal potentially the race win away from the 27? Good run, good tight draft down into the tunnel turn. You cannot make a mistake here if you're that 27 ride, or the 45 if you don't want to lose another position. But you see Browder kind of push up the racetrack there out of corner number 2. And for the final time here this evening at the Tricky Triangle, Jack Buelte will head down through corner number 3 and out of 3, back down across the line. It is the Fish Speed 27 machine of Jack Buelte who will pick up the win here at Pocono. Jack gets it done, picks up the win here this evening from Pocono Raceway, the Tricky Triangle here in the Wheel to Wheel Racing League, man. Great run, great finish right there. These guys put on a hell of a show for us again this evening as Jack gets the dub. Driver's going to come congratulate this 27 ride. Colby Wells comes home in second. Browder there in third. Evan Stewart, Benjamin Romano, great strategy call there for those two drivers. They're able to hold on to fourth and fifth. Jaden Porter, great strategy call, finishes in sixth. Xavier Rogelbrugge, Joseph Smith, Jason Bogart, and Austin Thompson round out our top 10. Trent Johns, Stephen Blevins, Ryan Haller, Darren Engler, Matthew Wood, our top 15 here this evening. Caleb Holloman, Michael Ponder Jr., Jordan Fisher, Landon Burbage, and Ben Needis, our top 20 here. As Applegate, Logan Perriman, and Michael Durham Jr. bring up the rear of the field. But for our race winner, Jack will get ready to celebrate here on the front straightaway at Pocono Raceway, man. The Tricky Triangle wasn't too tricky for the 27 here this evening, and now gets to celebrate here in this one. As Fish Mom says, way to go, Fish Speed, Fish Speed. Parking another car up and in victory lane here this evening. What a run, what a race, what a performance. And each and every one of these drivers, but out of that 27 ride to put himself up and into the winner's circle, man, that is a heck of a show, heck of a run right there. I wasn't sure if the older tires would hold on, if they were going to be able to hold off those fresh tires back behind them, but man, it seemed like after a couple laps, things kind of balanced out there, and maybe the fresh air for the number 27 ride worked out into his favor. to pick up the dub here this evening. As Mr. Holler in the chat says, "Hey, it's Kev. First ever pull top 10 both stages. Then I lose it into one. I think Landon sucked the air off my rear end, and I got loose, but that's racing. Good win, Jack. Yeah, good win there for Jack. Tough break there for you, Holler. Obviously, yeah, man, winning the pole. That was good to see. That was great to see for the 60 ride. Obviously, decently strong runs throughout both the stages, and then there towards the end, man, yeah, just good, tight, tough racing and pushing it for everything you got late in the race, and unfortunately, just that little error and just enough of that little bit of an arrow drag to loop you around and put you back into the outside fence and bringing up the yellow flag there, but sticking with it, battling hard, still come on with a good solid top 13 run. Not an awful day at the raceways. We get ready to pull Jack up here into the broadcast booth for his post-race interview. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up here for our race winner, Jack Buelty. Hey, Jack, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth. Did you get a copy?
I do.
Jack, man, what a run. What a race, man. Take us back through it. What's going through your mind as you're able to celebrate here this evening at Pocono Raceway?
Yeah, honestly, I'm just kind of relieved. I've been fast all season. I feel like just top 3 or top 5 all season. I've had a few shots to win. Just hasn't really happened yet. And then the last 3 or 4 weeks have been terrible for me. I haven't really scored any stage points, so I really needed a big day today. And won the stage. I think I got fourth in the other stage, and then obviously the win. So good points day. I really needed that. I was slipping through on points, but yeah, this was challenging. It was all about staying out of the air, the dirty air. It was all track position, and I was honestly surprised that the uh, I don't know who it was. I believe Matthew Wood and Shaden Browder. I can't believe they pitted there on that final caution, and I just had to take the clean air and was able to hold on.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, different strategy calls there. We see you and three other drivers elect to keep that clean air to kind of gain some track position for a few of the others. And it works out well for all four of you. Obviously, you're able to hold on to the race win. We saw Evan Stewart, Romano, and Porter finish back there in fourth, fifth, and sixth. So, I mean, they really only lost, 2 spots each there to Wells and Browder, and you didn't lose any. So, staying out was definitely the call as it worked out for you guys here pretty nicely to finish off this race. Did it ever cross your mind to maybe make that pit stop? You're out in front. You could have came out maybe still with the race lead if everyone was pitting, but did you expect, more drivers really to stay out right there?
I honestly, my plan was to stay out the whole time, and I just assumed that they were going to stay out too, just because track position was such a big factor. But then when I saw them peel off, I got pretty excited. I got a little concerned there for a minute at when it was just, I believe, like 3 guys stayed out. So I didn't really have a big buffer. But I was pretty confident that track position was going to be the winning move, and luckily it was.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely played out perfectly for you. But what was kind of going through your mind there after, about 2 or 3 laps of that green flag run coming to this checkered flag? You see Wells get out into second. You see Browder there in third. They both got those fresh tires. They're both trying to chase you down out there on the speedway. What's kind of going through your mind? Did you think, oh, maybe they have enough time, maybe they have enough opportunity here to reel you in and make a move to try to steal this win away from you? Or were you pretty content that if they were able to catch you, that you could just continue to keep on arrow blocking and that could be enough to keep them back there at bay for those extra, 3 or 4 laps to try to, stay in this race win?
I thought for sure that Browder definitely had a shot, and Matthew Woods. But I think Woods hit the turn 2 wall pretty hard, and that really slowed him down. And then, my teammate Evan Stewart was able to kind of defend a little bit, race them harder, and Colby was able to race them a little bit harder so I could build that gap. And then those final 3 or 4 laps, I was just kind of maintaining my gap. But yeah, I thought for sure they had a shot, especially with only 3 guys staying out and they had the fresher tires. It wasn't 4 tires, it was 2 tires, so that kind of um, decreases their advantage a little bit. But I thought for sure they could have had a big run, but my plan was definitely to aero block.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it worked out perfectly for you as you're able to celebrate here on the front straightaway. Finally punching through and put this 27 ride up into victory lane, man. That's gonna feel pretty good. Obviously, it's been a long season so far. A lot of decent races, a lot of good races for you, with some bad races in there. But you finally get through, get this victory. What does that mean for you, man? Especially with playoffs kind of just around the corner.
Yeah, I was fairly certain I was going to make the playoffs no matter what, but I mean, the final 4 weeks were rough. I mean, crashing, you know, first handful of laps at New Hampshire, and then I just ran like not very well at Iowa for some reason, so I don't know what happened there. But honestly, yeah, stage points have really been a struggle the past few weeks. Not being able to score any stage points really brings you down. So I think I went from sixth in points to like 11th. So yeah, I'm glad I can finally get this win. I honestly I care more about wins. I really, as much as I would love to say I have a shot at the championship, I really don't think I do. So really, I'm just going for wins, and luckily got one here at Pocono.
Yeah, finally able to get one onto the board here for yourself, Jack. Man, who would you like to thank for such a great run, great performance in the dub here at the Tricky Triangle?
Yeah, I just want to thank my team, TI Racing, everything they've done for me. Obviously, I'm new to the team, but want to thank them for that. Obviously, Fish Speed been big supporters of this league, as well as myself now. So happy to represent them, put them in victory lane.
Absolutely. Well, Jack, great run, great race, man. Huge dub here this evening at Pocono Raceway, and we can't wait to see you back in action and see if you can park this 27 right up here into victory lane a few more times here on the season.
All right, sounds good.
You enjoy the rest of your night and don't party too hard down there in victory lane.
All right, see ya.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our race winner, Jack Multi. Jack picks up the dub and pulls himself into victory lane here this evening as we'll get ready now to pull in our second place finisher, the 45 of Colby Wells. Hey, Colby, it's Aaron up here in the Peacemaker Broadcasting booth to get a copy.
Yes, sir, I do.
Colby, man, what a run, what a race for you here this evening, brother. Take us back through what's going through your mind as you're able to park this 45 right up and in position number 2 here this evening.
Yeah, it was a fantastic race. Congratulations to Jack. First off, TI Racing was an absolute incredible race for all of us. So, Jordan had a little bit of an issue there, but other than that, the team did fantastic. I felt like I had a really good shot to run up front and win this race. I wasn't really sure after practice, but the race speed was there immediately. So, absolute fantastic race. I fell back up around halfway, got a little right side damage, and I just elected to come get it fixed. Then I got mired back in traffic. But I think at one point I went from 18th to like fourth or something like that. So drive through the field was awesome. It was a great team win. First, second, fourth. It's fantastic. I think we're carrying a lot of momentum into the summer, and I'm super excited.
Yeah, absolutely. That run there, kind of after the stage break, of stage number 2, you mentioned that you were back there deep in the field, back in about the 18th position, and we just saw you, slowly but surely, navigate your way through the traffic there. And at one point, we called it out. I mean, you were looking a lot more like Jordan Fisher. We saw Jordan kind of do the exact same thing throughout that first stage, kind of drive his way from the back of the pack up through the field to a good, solid stage finish there in stage number 1. And that's exactly what you were doing. It looked really, really fun. Obviously, battling around these guys, stealing these positions, and just keep marching your way forward. Then the caution flag kind of flies. That helps you out a little bit more as you're able to kind of, play the strategy call with Browder and Matthew Wood. Obviously, for Wood, didn't work out well for him as he got into the outside fence, but you're able to get through the traffic a little quicker than Browder, and it comes out with a solid place run there. Obviously, Browder trying to get around you late in this race. You're hoping to try to catch Jack, but the arrow blocking out of the 27 ride and the teamwork maybe there a little bit as well. Maybe not pushing as hard to try to jump up there and steal the win from him. But, I mean, take us kind of through that, strategy call there. Obviously, midway through this run, going through the field, navigating all these positions, and then obviously there with the final pit stop, with what, 10 laps left to go, 9 laps left to go to come down pit road, get those 2 tires, and then try to duke it out with Browder and Wood to try to work your guys' way back up here to the front of the field.
Yeah, I get to a point where I kind of get frustrated when I get mired back, and the passing in this car is really hard. So I kind of just settled in and started picking them off one by one, and I kind of just got into a mode there and drove through the field. And then that yellow that came out, you pointed out, was absolutely huge for me. I didn't really want to see it because I wanted Jack to go ahead and win, but I think it benefited all of us there at the end. So when I saw Matthew and Jaden come in, I kind of went into more of a team mode. I saw Jack and Evan stay out. I'm like, I really don't want us 1, 2, 3 because that never ends well. So I saw them coming in. I was like, I'll try it too, and it played out perfectly. Matthew got the ball. Jack and I were kind of battling arrow there, and I don't know. Once Jack kind of moved up a lane, I was kind of ripping the high lane, and once he moved up to give me that dirty air, I kind of went into a team mode again and was like, hey, I'd rather us finish 1, 2 here than throw it all away. So I kind of just sat there and tried to defend a little bit, and luckily it all worked out. So once again, huge congratulations to Jack. Great team win. Just a fantastic run from all of us.
Yeah, fantastic run for all of you guys. Obviously, we saw Jordan run into his issues there. I'm sure he was in the Discord. What kind of happened there is we saw him run through the field, come home with a good, solid performance in stage number one, and then all of a sudden he was just down pit road for like 3 or 4 laps there under yellow, and you guys were getting racing, and he was still down pit road there. I wasn't too sure what happened there to the 39 ride. Did he give you guys a little insight there on potentially what may have been happening and why he ended up losing those laps and kind of just ended up taking himself out of this race as he never really got those laps back and got a chance to battle his way back up here to the front of the pack?
Yeah, honestly, I'm not too sure. I believe he hit the wall kind of earlier in the race and then had some damage. I'm not really sure how he went fewer laps down, more laps down. We were talking about strategy and stuff. We could get him back on the lead lap there, but no, I'm not really too sure how he got mired back. But he's been a great help to the entire team with the sponsorship as well as helping us on the racetrack. So even with him kind of mired back, he has always been a great to help to us, and I can't appreciate him enough.
Absolutely. Obviously, it works out perfectly because it comes home with a 1-2 finish here for the TI Racing team. And for you and Jack, man, good runs, great performances. And here tonight, Kobe, come home second at Pocono Raceway, the Tricky Triangle. Brother, who'd you like to thank for such a great run, a great performance out there on the Speedway?
Yeah, it's got to thank Chris Lewis. We made a pretty big change here at TI Racing a couple weeks ago, and he gave me, permission and privileges to do that, and I think it's mired out really well for us. So thank you to Chris Lewis, TI Racing, Fishby, Jordan Fisher. Like I said, he's been an incredible help to us, so I can't thank him enough. And like I said, I'm really excited for the rest of the season we've got going. I think TI Racing's got a lot of momentum, and hopefully one of us can bring this championship home.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to be a lot of fun to see you guys duke it out here for the rest of the regular season and into those playoffs and see, if one of you guys can get it done and steal our, second season championship and try to knock Matthew Wood off the top spot there for our, defending champion here in the series.
Thank you for putting on the broadcast as well. Appreciate it.
Absolutely, Kobe. Congrats on the second place run. We can't wait to see you back out there again next Sunday night and see if you can park this 45 ride maybe one spot better and up and into victory lane.
Thank you, sir.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, give it up there for our second place finisher, Colby Wells. Colby comes home in position number 2. Great run, great drive, great performance there for the number 2 machine. I don't see Jaden Browder in the Discord. So I'm not sure if we're going to get Jaden in here for a post-race interview or not. He's not in the waiting room. I don't see him in any of the Discord channels, so I don't think we're going to be able to pull Jaden into the booth here this evening. But nonetheless, shout out there to the 11 ride. Browder with a great run, great performance here this evening. Definitely right in the mix all evening long to try to steal this win. And for the number 11 machine, another driver that had gained a lot of positions, had to race his way through the field there and came out of it with a pretty solid run and another top 3 performance for that 11 machine. Unfortunately, though, that's going to do it for us here this evening. We can't thank you guys enough for tuning in. Everyone coming in, showing the love with the likes, the comments, the shares, any of the new subscribers. We appreciate each and every single one of you, and we'll see you guys back in here in the next one, man. Much love, and I'll see you guys in the next one, man. Peace and love, ladies and gentlemen. Peace and love.
Yeah. Yeah. Burning rubber, tires screaming, engines go berserk. Pit stop precision like surgeons at work. Wheel to wheel, hands on the grip, no chill. Broadcast live, pacemaker keeping it real. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, box flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the ground stay greasy. 360 on the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. Peacemaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checkered flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, box flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the ground stay greasy. On the asphalt, danger a flirt. Every lap closer, the tires eating dirt. Peacemaker's lens, the hype ignites. Streaming the chaos under neon lights. Draft game strong, slingshot out the lane. Calculated risk deep in the veins. Checker flags wave dreams on the brink. Fast decisions where you barely get to blink. Yeah, yeah. From amateurs to legends, it's all the same heat. One wrong move might sweep defeat. High octane stakes climb mile by mile. Peacemakers mic hot, adding flames to the style. Speed demons on the track, hearts racing with the sound. Slide tight in the curves, box flying off the ground. Victory's a beast, it don't come easy. Wheel to wheel racing, the grind stay greasy. Greasy, the grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy. The grind stay greasy.